Waiting for this. So, as I mentioned, that will be chatting around a budget, and we'll be using a budget to take control of our money. So, who can tell me what a budget is? Who can assist me with that? You guys can put the answers on the chat, and Kevin will assist me in terms of tracking the responses. Okay. You can use the chat, and also please feel free to voice out your responses as well. So, who can tell me, who can assist me? What is a want? And in that same light, I'll also add the following as well. Who can tell me what is a need? So the two questions that I have is, what is a need and what is a want? You can answer both questions simultaneously and maybe just give me a differentiator between the two. You can use the chat function, or you can just voice out your response. Still waiting for the responses. Who can guide me on this one? What is a need and what is a want? Should I continue? Do you have any responses that side? Nothing yet. Okay. So in short, what I would say is a need is something that you actually need for essential survival or for survival. And a want is something that you can actually live without. Key differences is need, well, since you don't respond to the previous one, this was just a few basic examples that I've actually put up or prepared, so we can actually go through them together to decide if it is a need or a want. But one thing that I need to add is needs and wants are different from one person to the other. As individuals, we'll have different needs and we will have different wants. The first one that I can run to or jump to is paying your sister's necessary school fees. Based on that, if you are the primary caregiver for your sister's child, it will be a need. But if the parents are there, your kids are going to a no-fee paying school, and your sister decided to take their kid to a fee-paying school, that will definitely become a want. Medicine. There are certain medicines that some of us will regard as needs, some of us will regard as wants, but it will also depend on your needs as a person, on your health, to say, is this a need or a want? We'll skip right through, but things like your house, things like water, things like food, uh, those are few basic essentials that you actually need as a person. I was going to ask what a budget is, but a budget, to just go through it quickly, is a tool that one can use to keep track of their income and their expenses. Also, I can also define as it is a plan of what you're actually going to do with your money. I know most of us budget. The only difference is we actually don't keep track or have a record of it. Most banking apps nowadays do assist with this. If you go to your banking app, they do have a functionality where you can actually do your budget, see where you've spent your money, and from there you can start tracking your expenses to say, this is the money that I received, my income, and these are the expenses that I've incurred so far. So a budget can actually help you in terms of managing that. I'll skip that. And when you're doing a budget will help you to actually do the following. You can take a picture of this. I won't go through all of them, but you'll know who needs to be paid first. We spoke about needs and wants earlier on. So basic needs will need to be paid first before you can go to your wants. Simple example that I can use is you need to pay for your house or your rental property if you are renting first before you can actually go out. Because if you go out and you spend more than what you need for your accommodation, you might get kicked out, or your house can actually get repossessed. So it is very, very essential and very important to start with settling your needs first, or paying your needs first before you can actually go to your to your wants. You'll make better spending decisions. You'll understand where you can cut on your expenses. But if you if you don't know, you won't know where to cut. But if you have a budget in place, you know you have your needs on your left, you have your wants on your right, you can then see which ones do you actually need to pay first. Then lastly, you'll save, manage your debt, and you'll actually see where you're falling short. Some of the winning habits that I have curated or that I use in my personal life on a daily basis that I think might also work for you. Winning habit number one is you need to plan how you are going to use your income by budgeting on a monthly basis. I can actually break this down to even on a weekly basis or even on a daily basis. So you can see if you are overspending or if you're still on par or if you're still within the range that you want to achieve at the end of the month, at the end of 3 months, or in the next year or two. Pay a little extra if you can afford. This will help you to reduce your debt quicker. We all know that if you pay your an additional amount into your credit agreements, you're actually reducing the capital amount. Most credit agreements, the interest is charged on the capital amount. If you're reducing the capital amount, you are reducing the interest rate. You are reducing the total repayment amount that you'll be paying at the end. Only take out credit when you really need. And the last part is if you can afford to pay it back. Most cases when individuals come through to interact with us as a bank, they just get there and say, look, I need 5,000 Rand or I need 10,000 Rand. If I say the installment is 2.5 for the next 6 months, they won't even do the calculation because all they needed or all they wanted was to get access to funds. So please, from now onwards, please compare. Just because you bank with a financial institution or a certain bank, it doesn't mean that they will do the best there is out there for you. So it's in the best interest to actually compare and saying, Bank A says I'll pay so much, Bank B says I'll pay so much, Bank C says I'll pay so much. This is the interest rate. This is the repayment amount. This is the total amount that I would have paid. Because someone who pays 10% on 100,000 Rand versus someone who pays 30% on 100,000 Rand, the installment will definitely not be the same. 10% versus 30%, there is a massive, massive, massive difference. And that's your money that you'll actually be taking and giving it to a financial institution on a daily basis or on a monthly basis. Save money in a savings account where it will grow. Hopefully with us as the new generation, we don't put money under the mattress anymore. We save it at financial institutions, but just make sure that the account that you're using or utilizing, it is going to assist in terms of growing your money by giving you interest. Make saving part of your monthly budget. Please do not save after you've done your budget. Put savings as part of your budget to say from the income that I've gathered, this is what I'm saving before I even spend. So now we're changing the theme. We don't spend and then we save what's left off. We now save before we spend. I think I've covered most of the items that are here. Understand your needs and wants so you can budget better. And please don't compare yourself to the next person. It is your needs. These are your wants, not anyone else, not anyone's perception or anyone's expectations of you. This is just based on you. As I mentioned earlier, that we're all different as individuals. Our needs and wants are going to be different. So please budget based on your current situation, budget based on your needs, budget based on the goals that you actually want to achieve. Speaking about goals, this actually helps us to move swiftly right around to assisting you in terms of growing your money. We assist you with growing your money through saving. If I could just touch on that in terms of what saving is, there is a response that I've actually prepared here. It's when you don't spend all the money that you have, so you have something that you put away for later use. In short, it's actually money that you put away for tomorrow. I know that most individuals say we're saving for rainy days, and most of the time, the moment you start saving, it starts raining the following day. But this is actually money that you're putting away to pay yourself tomorrow. If I finish everything that I have today, what will happen to me tomorrow? So saving is more of, let me put something for tomorrow, let me put something for next week, let me put something for the next 2 months, let me put something for the next 3 months, let me put something for the next 3 or 5 years, depending on the goals that I want to achieve. Our goals are going to be different. I think I'll highlight this or reiterate this throughout this entire session, because we are different as individuals. So my goal now might be to buy a new cell phone. I might need to buy that new cell phone in the next 3 or 6 months. So that will fall within the short-term goal objectives that I want to achieve. But just because I want a cell phone, it doesn't mean that the next person is looking for a cell phone. The next person might be looking for a microwave. The next person might be looking for new tires. The next person might be looking to buy property or to buy a car. So our goals are going to be divided into three 0 to 12 months, that will be your short-term goal. And then from 12 months to 5 years, that will be your medium-term goals. Anything from 5 years and above, that will be your long-term goals. So anything that you want to achieve within that space, you will then classify it within that. It could be period-based, or it could be based on the amount. What do I mean by that? So I want to buy something worth 5,000 Rand in December, this December. 5,000 Rand divided by 6 months, you do that math. You'll see how much I'll actually need to save. Or I'm left with 6 months, I need to put to get to 6,000. That's simple, 1,000 Rand a month. Or alternatively is I need to get to 5,000 Rand in 24 months. Then the amount will become a bit lower. So there'll be the target date, or there'll be the targeted amount. And based on that as well is just the importance of saving here plays a big role, because if you go and save money within a bank, you're getting anything between 1% or 0 point something percent up to about 10% on a good savings or investment account. But if you want to borrow money, the interest rates, more so on the unsecured space, you're looking at paying anything close to about 30%. So you can see you're getting 10% when you're saving with them or with us as a financial institution, but you're paying back around 30% when you want to borrow. If you want to buy, let's say you want to buy a TV, 5,000 Rand or 6,000 Rand from now, that's 1,000 Rand a month up until December. You go buy a TV now for 6,000 Rand, the very same TV set, you're looking at paying between 24 and 36 months. But most of the time when you want to buy furniture on credit or when you want to buy items, we don't look at the total repayment amount. We don't look at the interest. All we care about is the installment. So you're buying something worth 5,000 Rand, but you're paying 12,000 Rand for it over the next 2 years. Or you're paying 15,000 Rand over the next 3 years. So that's your money that you could have used for something else, but you ended up giving it to a financial institution because you wanted instant gratification. You didn't want to save for it, didn't practice patience, and you just wanted to get the item right there on the spot. So I'll just highlight this. Your goals, you can divide them into a short-term goal, medium-term goal, or a long-term goal. Bring it closer to home regarding the goals as well. When you get invited or when you get invites to events, as an example, I know that most of us in the church here are artists, so you mostly get paid to go there. But if you are going, let's say it's a family member or it's a non-paying gig, you know that by just showing up to that event, it'll already have some cost implications to you. One, you need to transport yourself there. Secondly, you need an outfit for that particular day. And you might also have a +1. And if it's something for a colleague or a friend or an acquaintance, you might also need to get them a gift or just something to give them on that particular day. So when you're doing your budget, it's something that we actually do not account for to say, what is it that's going to be happening or that I need to do in the next 3-6 months? So now you can go back to your goals and say, you know what, I have to do this in the next 3 months. How much will it cost me? It's going to cost me 5,000 Rand. What's 5,000 Rand by 3 months? Now you know you need to put 1,750 on a monthly basis as an example. Or I can't afford to put away 2,000 Rand on a monthly basis to get to the 6,000 in 2 months, but I can afford to put away 1,000 Rand. Sharp. Let's go ahead. Let's do that. Let's not say, I won't have enough. Let me not do it. It's 1,000, 2,000, it's 3,000 in month 3. you are so much better than someone who doesn't have anything at all. Because with that 3,000, you can tweak certain things and say, you know what, I'm going to do this, or I'm not going to do this. Or let me just rather get them a gift because I can't make it because of other or certain reasons as well. So your goals will be different from one person to the next, and let's classify them based on the time frames or based on the period. Tips that you need to do in order for you to start saving: please make sure that you keep a budget. Change your bad spending habits. I'm not saying that everybody on the meeting today has bad spending habits, but if you do, change that. Shop for low prices. Um, we know that there's certain days where you get specials within a month. Please shop when those things are on special. Shop for low prices. Compare. I mentioned comparing when you're getting credit from a bank or when you're getting anything from any financial institution. Compare. Just do that as well. Even when you want to buy groceries or you want to buy an item, you'll be surprised how much you could actually save. Cut down on wants, because wants something that can change on a frequent basis is not something that you actually need or that's basic for survival. Reduce your usage of variable expenses. Earlier on, I spoke about expenses or your needs and wants. I think I'll just expand that a bit to say when you go to your expenses, they'll be divided into two. You'll have your fixed expenses that are not going to change, they're there. Those you can also classify them as your needs. You'll also have your variable expenses that alternates on a monthly basis. This might be your travel. This might be your petrol. This might be your groceries. This might be your airtime if you're not on contract. So on your variable expenses, those ones are going to alternate based on your usage, based on your consumption, based on how often you actually do or take a particular action. Grow your own vegetables, and then lastly, recycle. And then 7 steps that you can actually use to start saving. Firstly, you need to decide on a goal and make a plan for it. I spoke about attending an event. It could be a graduation ceremony for your little ones. It could be a graduation for yourself as well. It could be a matric dance or a farewell function. It could be anything. Decide on a goal and make a plan for it. And secondly, calculate your monthly savings goal amount. So the goal amount will then determine how soon do you get to the desired outcome or desired amount. It will also decide on the period as well, in terms of if I save this particular amount, how long do I need to save it for? And then control your spending by reducing your expenditure on wants. Redirect freed up cash towards your savings goal. Save in a bank account that earns interest. Also, please compare the different savings options that you have to say bank A is going to give me so much in interest, bank B is going to give me so much in interest, because they offer a wide range of accounts that you can get from different banks. You have your savings accounts, you have your investment accounts, you have your fixed deposit accounts, you have your notice accounts, 7 days, 32 days. There's multiple accounts that you can actually choose from based on the amount, based on the goal, based on and then they also have different interests as well. Save on a monthly basis. And then lastly on this one, please be disciplined. I think I touched on the difference between savings and borrowing earlier, so I'll just skip that. And then the different investment vehicles that one can actually utilize. The difference between savings and investments is the period or the time frame. On a savings, it's more on a short term. Investment, it's more on a long term. So in terms of savings or investments, you have the different options that you can actually choose from. You can invest in cash, you can invest in property, shares, endowments. You can start your own business. But if I were to bring it closer to home as well, I can expand this to add royalties. I can add publishing rights. I can add shares in record labels or companies that are in the music industry. You can enter into artistic ventures or collaborations. And the last investment that I'll chat on is around education. This could be you teaching either individuals to give you money, that's an investment, or you can invest in yourself by um, going to school or educating yourself. So that would also be part of an investment that you can take. One of the key ones that I can add in, here for us in the group here is financial education. You have time, please do that. can either enroll for courses, or you can just get a financial coach or a financial planner that can actually assist you with your finances. With investments comes taxes and fees that are linked to that. So please just make sure that you settle that, because any money that you earn from from investment, it will incur taxes and fees. So please just always investigate what taxes and fees are applicable to the different accounts that are there. And then even on the investments as well, some investments carry risk and some investments do not carry risk. So please just do your research first before you decide on the type of investment that you actually want. We'll skip this. I think this was just a question to say, do you watch any sports? Simply yes or no. And if you have sports, how do you know if your team is actually winning or losing? And then when you do your budget as well, you can take a picture of this as well. Please just keep this financial scorecard or scoreboard with you. This scoreboard shows you who do you owe and on which sector do they fall under. Are they in the formal sector, the informal sector, or are they just friends and family? So keep this, do your totals, and then you'll see who needs to be paid, when, by how, what interest are you paying here and there. So please just have this, and then you can also do the same in terms of your savings as well, and your investments. To say, I'm actually saving here, I'm saving here, and that's going to help you. Over indebtedness. Over indebtedness, or earlier on, I alluded that to the fact that we'll be chatting about that. I'll just be quick on this one. You just need to know who do you owe. This is where now you are in a pitfall. You now have a challenge. You have so many obligations that you need to settle at once, and your income is not enough to cover that. Well, speaking about income, I actually didn't even speak about the type of incomes that you can actually have as an artist. But there's quite a few that you can actually we can actually go through. Either it's merchandise sales, it's other royalties, but there's quite a few income streams that you can have as an artist, not relying on one. So you will know who you owe. Please just explain your situation. Financial institutions, reasonable institutions that are willing to listen, and you can make arrangements with them. There are certain institutions that will say maybe pay 1% of their outstanding debt until you're back on your feet, or pay the minimum installment on this particular account until you're back on your feet. You can make a promise to pay, to say, you know what, I'm promising to pay this particular amount for the next 3 months, and then when my situation changes, I'll go back to the normal installment. Please do not run away. And if you cannot afford it at that particular time, do not commit. Challenge becomes when you make a promise and you don't keep that promise. And please do not borrow money to pay out other loans as well. Cut down on expenses. Avoid buying groceries on credit. And lastly, if it all seems like there's no way out, you can consult a debt counselor. They can help you with the various options that they have on their side as well. And then speaking about insurance, there's 2 types of insurance that one can get. It could either be a long-term insurance, could be a short-term insurance. Long-term, you need to ask yourself the following questions. What will happen to you or your family if you became disabled, or if you had a life-changing event, or if you passed on? In terms of short-term insurance, questions are a bit different. It's what do you own? Could you cover the costs of your assets or possessions if they got damaged, they got lost, or they got stolen? And then from these questions, you will then be able to choose and decide which insurance or types of insurance do you need. Do you need a short-term insurance? Do you need a long-term insurance? From a long-term insurance, you're looking at death, disability, if you became disabled. And then for short term, you're looking at possessions like your cell phone, house, your car. So it's more on those. And then the last part that I said we'll chat on, or we'll chat about today, see, still good for time. Way good for time. Is regarding a will. I was going to ask, in terms of who knows what a will is, who has a will, but a will is a legal document that states your final wishes. The person needs to have a will so that it can inform the ones that are remaining behind what they need to do when you're no longer around. Just on having a will in place, it does assist in terms of giving individuals a peace of mind that are remaining behind because they know what is due to them or who's getting what. If there's no will in place, oh well, just a statistics on this, there's only 6% of South Africans that actually pass on while having a will in place, meaning that the other remaining 94% actually pass on interstate. By that means that everything will go to the government, and the government will then assist with the person that has the power of authority or power of attorney to then dissolve your estate. And it doesn't mean that they will do what's best for you or they will do what you would have done in that particular moment in time. But if you have a will, you can state your wishes. You can then inform them what you actually want to be done. Another myth that's big in the market is that you need to have a certain amount or you need to have a lot of assets in order for you to have a will. And that's not true. As I said, it is a myth. Everyone needs a will. And there are institutions that are actually going to charge you to keep safe custody of your will, and the institutions that are going to offer you a will free of charge. And then this year is just, oh yeah, and the cost involved in terms of winding up your estate, you're looking at about 3.5% of your entire estate. This is just an example that I actually highlighted, and I thought we would go through it together. But if you can check on the illustration, I think we'll just go step by step, up and from 1 up until 7. The first one is car accident, passed away, and there was no will in place. So the pictures on the right, and then on your left, you can then also go through with me. When we go to number 2, he had kids, and then, or 2 kids, and then a girlfriend of 15 years. Number 3, since there was no will in place, it means that the Interstate Succession Act will kick in, and the state will decide who has the right to inherit from your estate or from what you're leaving behind. When you go to number 4, because they were not married, she was just a girlfriend of 15 years. There's no documents in place. The kids are also 9 and 11, and by law, no one below the age of 18 is actually allowed to inherit. So they cannot be responsible for the money. So they will need to appoint a guardian who will then take their funds up until they reach 18. Hopefully they still have that money by the time they reach 18. And then when you go to number 5, where's number 5? Okay, 5 there. The kids, they're 9, 11. They can't inherit because they're young. And then the state then sells off the assets and places the assets under a guardianship trust. When we go to 6, obviously the girlfriend will be very upset because she thought 15 years we're together in this. I mean, everything that's hers, it's mine. But it wasn't the case because they were not married. There was not a legal document in place. There was no will in place stating otherwise. Very sad. It took time, as I mentioned, 94% of South Africans are using the state. They trust the state with their funds instead of them giving the instruction to a financial institution or an institution that can assist you over will. Their way of life changed. It was difficult for them. Time, they also lost their home and they lost their way of life. So this was just an example in terms of things that can happen when you actually pass on without having a will. And it's not just having a will. It is an updated will, because if your will is not updated, the will or the information that's there will be the one that's used if something happens to you. I always use this example whenever I interact with customers because I had a customer before that created a will or drafted a will and then got remarried 4 times but never updated the will. And unfortunately, when he passed on, everything went to his first wife. Second wife, nothing. Third wife, nothing. Current wife, nothing. Things that you need to keep in mind when you're drafting a will: your assets, your beneficiaries, your executor, and then who will actually be looking after your children when you're no longer around. I think we've came through to the end of our session. Not sure if there's any questions in the chat or any questions that you'd like me to. There's one question. Okay. So the question is, do you offer savings accounts that are suitable for individuals with irregular or variable income, like artists? And the answer to that is yes. Remember, when you're creating a savings account, it is based on your needs, it is based on your wants, it is based on your goal. So yes, I know that most savings accounts will need you to contribute a certain amount on a monthly basis, but you can open up a savings account, contribute as and when you have something. Contribute as and when you have a gig, contribute as and when you have a sponsorship deal. So when for artists, yes, we have. Um, you can save, even investments as well. There are investments like that. It doesn't mean that when you have a savings account or investment account, you need to contribute daily or monthly. It will be up to you. You can say, I'll contribute to this once off. I'll just put the money away and take it when I need it. So that could work for you when you know that when you have a spike, you can save. So it doesn't mean that you need to do it on a monthly basis, but when you have recurring income, you can then also add that portion of savings into your savings account. I hope that answers your question. Any other questions before we close off? So thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. This was just the first of many. If you can check, we've actually summarized, almost unpackaged everything into one. There's still a lot of detail that we need to go to or go through when you're talking about having a budget in place. There's still a lot of detail that we have to go through when we're chatting about savings and investments. We actually have a full session on savings. We have a full session on investments. We also have a full session just chatting about wills and showing you how you can actually draft your will. We still have a full session in terms of retirement planning. We have a full session in terms of insurance. So this was just a summary of everything to say, how can we give you information or bits and pieces or things that we think you need to note from the different offerings that we have. So you will then inform us. I think we'll chat to Monday as well to see if we can arrange another session, but it will be based on what you're actually looking for, what stood out for you. Would you like us to engage regarding having a budget? Would you like us engage regarding investments? Would you like us to engage regarding investment scams? Because those happen as well, and we have a full session on those. So there's quite a lot of contents that we'll still like to share with you. Um, we're not saying that after these sessions you'll be 100% or you will know this info as much as I know it, or you'll know it as much as the next person. It will still be up to you to take the decision to say that, let me do this for me, not for anyone else. We can give you all the info that you need. We can give you all the content that you need. But if you don't take the first step, if you don't put it into practice, it will just be content that's there, that's not being practiced. But if you practice and you use it, it is going to help you in terms of securing your financial future. My name is Zweli Twala from FNB. Thank you so much for your time. Cheers.